Hi, you're on the Reddit Confessions channel. She didn't say good morning. She didn't even look at me. Just grabbed her keys, muttered something about needing time, and slammed the door. That was 33 days ago. Since then, not a single text. No, hey, I'm home. No, can you grab milk? Just silence. Like I'd stopped existing, unless the dishes weren't done. And the thing is, I kept doing them. I kept folding her laundry. I even watered her stupid office cactus because she always forgets. I thought maybe she was going through something. I thought maybe I should just wait, like an idiot. But last night, something changed. She walked through the front door like nothing happened. Perfume I hadn't smelled in months. Lipstick I hadn't seen her wear since our anniversary 2 years ago. She floated past me like a ghost in heels. Then, this part makes my stomach twist, she actually hummed, like she was in a good mood. And then, casually, like asking what's for dinner, she hugged me. She hugged me. I stood frozen while she smiled and said, "Hey, do you know why my card got declined at the salon today?" I had to use my backup one. It's weird. No apology, no explanation, just a hug and a billing issue. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't even blink. I just looked at her and said, "I don't pay for disrespect." Her face went pale. The smile dropped like a phone losing signal. That moment lasted maybe 2 seconds. Then she said something I'll never forget, something that made me realize I had no idea who I was married to. And if you think that was bad, wait until you hear what was in her glove box. I didn't ask her where she had been. I didn't need to. Her reaction said everything. She tried to laugh it off, said something like, "Wow, you're really going to act like that over a little spending glitch?" I didn't flinch. I just turned back to folding the laundry and let the silence answer for me. That made her furious. Within minutes, she was pacing the living room, making wild accusations. "So what? You're punishing me now? You're trying to control me with money?" I didn't say anything. I just kept folding. That seemed to rattle her more than yelling ever could. She stormed out of the house, slamming the door harder than she ever had before. This time, I didn't wait on the couch. I logged into our old shared Amazon account out of curiosity. I hadn't used it in months, but she never changed the password. My heart started thudding when I saw recent orders. Cologne I've never worn, a whiskey brand I can't afford, and a sleek leather wallet that definitely wasn't for me. All shipped to our house, addressed to her. I checked our Ring camera history. There he was, a guy I'd never seen before. Mid-30s, clean-shaven, too confident, walking out our front door during one of the days I was working overtime. He even had the audacity to wave at the camera like he lived here. She wasn't silent because she was stressed. She was silent because she was replacing me piece by piece. I should have confronted her. I should have screamed, thrown something, demanded answers. Instead, I sat there with a folded pile of her clothes and tears I refused to let fall. She came home past midnight and went straight to bed. I pretended to be asleep, but the next morning she opened her glove box while I was scraping frost off the windshield, and I saw something fall onto her lap. A handwritten note. Not from me. She didn't know I saw the note. It slipped from her glove box as she reached for her sunglasses, landing on her lap like a secret begging to be read. I froze, staring at it through the windshield. I couldn't read the whole thing, but I caught two words scrawled in blue ink across the middle. Last night. And below it, a little heart. It wasn't my handwriting. She tucked it back inside like it was nothing. No hesitation, no guilt. I should have confronted her right then. But instead I got into the car and asked if she wanted coffee. She said, "Yeah, oat milk like always," as if we were still some kind of functioning couple. We drove in silence. Her phone buzzed twice and she tilted it away from me every time. When I asked who it was, she muttered, "Just work," and changed the subject. I let her talk. She told me about some coworker's promotion, something about gym memberships, some stupid story about a squirrel at the gas station. All of it washed over me like background noise, because all I could see was that note. That afternoon when she left her phone in the bathroom, I checked the contacts. A new one, James Contractor. I tapped the message thread, heart pounding. The last one read, "Can't stop thinking about you. Last night was unreal. Let me know when I can see you again. Tell your husband you're working late if you need an excuse." I didn't scream. I didn't throw the phone. I just sat on the edge of the tub, the tile freezing against my feet, and read it 3 times over. Then I forwarded it to myself. I spent the next few hours walking in circles around the backyard like an idiot. I rehearsed what I'd say. I imagined packing her bags. But when she came home that night, she kissed my cheek like she hadn't just shattered every remaining piece of me. And I kissed her back. Why? Because I still wasn't ready to believe it. But the truth, it was already living in our house. Literally. Because 2 days later, I found something in the laundry that didn't belong to either of us. I was sorting through a pile of laundry on Sunday morning, just like I always do. Her clothes always had this faint citrusy scent from her overpriced detergent, but in the middle of folding one of her gym tops, something dropped to the floor. I thought it was a sock. It wasn't. It was a black t-shirt, 2 sizes too big. Not mine, not hers. At first I just stared at it. No tag, no logo, no smell, just a plain men's shirt that didn't belong to either of us. I went through every excuse in the book. Maybe it was from the laundromat. Maybe it got mixed in at the gym. Maybe I was going crazy. I shoved it back into the basket and said nothing. But later that day I saw her wearing it. Not outside, not around the house. In bed. She wore it like it was hers, like it was special. I walked into the room and saw her curled up on the edge of the mattress, scrolling through her phone with her legs tangled under that shirt. And I swear something snapped inside me. I asked, "Where'd you get that?" She looked up like she didn't understand the question. "What? The shirt?" She blinked. "Oh, I don't know. Must be one of yours." It wasn't, and she knew it. But she didn't flinch, just kept scrolling like it wasn't a big deal. That night I couldn't sleep. I lay next to her while she snored softly in that stranger's shirt. I stared at the ceiling and thought about how many lies she told me without ever moving her lips. Silence is a brutal kind of betrayal because it gives your imagination too much room to work with. So I did something I hadn't done in years. I snooped. While she was in the shower the next morning, I opened her laptop. She never changes her password. I wasn't even sure what I was looking for, but within minutes, I found a hidden folder on her desktop labeled Work. Inside were screenshots, messages, a hotel receipt, and a photo. One photo that made my stomach twist so hard I nearly dropped the laptop. She wasn't just cheating, she was documenting it. I stared at the photo on her screen until my vision blurred. It was the two of them. My wife laughing, leaning into him like I didn't exist. They were sitting on a hotel balcony. She wore the sundress I bought her for our 5th anniversary. He wore the shirt I just found in our laundry. And between them, 2 half-empty glasses and a look on her face I hadn't seen in years. That soft, weightless kind of smile she used to give me. I closed the laptop without saving or copying anything. I don't know why. Maybe I didn't want proof. Maybe I didn't want to be the guy who kept a digital receipt of his own humiliation. Or maybe I already knew no one would believe me unless they saw her like I just had. When she stepped out of the shower minutes later, wrapped in a towel and humming, I thought my knees would give out. She kissed my shoulder in passing and said, "Can you make coffee today? I'm running late." Just like that. No idea what I had seen. No clue. I was seconds from collapsing. I made the coffee. My hands were shaking, but I still did it. That night I sat in the garage and stared at our car. Her lipstick was smudged on the rearview mirror. Her perfume still lingered on the seat. I thought about driving somewhere, and anywhere, but my name was still on the mortgage. My clothes were still in the closet. My toothbrush still hung beside hers. This was my life, and it felt like someone else was living in it while I stood at the window watching. The next morning I asked her directly, "Are you happy with me?" She looked confused, then smiled and said, "You're stable. That counts for something, right? Stable like a chair, like a shelf, like something you put your purse on before walking away." I nodded, but something in me cracked. And for the first time in this entire mess, I started to feel something I hadn't felt in weeks. Not sadness, not jealousy, something sharper. Resolve. I didn't speak to her for 2 full days after that. Not because I wanted to punish her. God, no. I just didn't trust my voice. I was scared of what might come out if I opened my mouth. Not yelling. Something worse. Honesty. She didn't seem to notice anyway. Her routine didn't change. Still left the house with fresh makeup. She still returned late and brushed off my questions with little jokes. She even called me babe again once, as if resurrecting old terms would stitch the past back together. I kept pretending not to notice when she'd hide her phone as soon as I entered a room, pretending I didn't hear her whisper laughing through the bathroom door while I sat on the other side alone on the stairs, pretending I didn't know where her new bruises came from. But something was shifting in me. Quietly, I started packing little things. Not dramatically, just socks, a couple of shirts, some tools from the garage. I tucked them into a duffel bag in the trunk of my car under a pile of blankets. She never looked there. Why would she? She barely looked at me. Then on Friday night, something happened I didn't expect. She came home crying, not sobbing, not dramatic, just red eyes, blotchy cheeks, and this glassy look I hadn't seen in years. I asked what was wrong, and she looked at me like I was a stranger. Nothing. Work stuff, she mumbled. Then she asked, "Do you still love me?" I choked, not because the answer was complicated, but because I never thought she'd care enough to ask. My mind went blank. I wanted to scream. Why now? After everything? But I just said, "Do you still respect me?" She didn't answer. Just turned away, went to the kitchen, and poured herself wine in the dark. I watched her from the hallway for a long time, and that's when I decided I wasn't going to beg for a place in her story anymore. I was going to start writing mine. Saturday morning, I woke up before her for once. She was still asleep on the couch, wrapped in a throw blanket like it was some shield from everything she'd broken. Her wine glass was still on the floor, half full. The room smelled like silence and guilt. I didn't make coffee that morning. I didn't start the laundry. I didn't do any of the things I normally did to keep our broken machine running one more day. Instead, I opened the storage closet and pulled out a box she hadn't seen in years. My old journals tucked beneath dusty winter coats and forgotten photo albums. I flipped through one and nearly laughed. The entries were full of hope. Dumb stuff like, "She laughed so hard today she snorted," or "She called me her favorite person." Those scribbled lines didn't feel like they belonged to me anymore. They read like someone else's memories, someone who hadn't been ghosted in his own home. Then I did something bold, at least for me. I printed the hotel photo, just one copy. I didn't mark it or write a note. I slid it into the center of our dinner table, placed right on top of the placemat she never used. And then I waited. She didn't come downstairs until almost noon. No makeup, no excuses. Just tired eyes and that usual fake stretch followed by a mumbled morning. I watched her walk into the kitchen. She didn't see the photo right away, but when she did, everything froze. She stared. No gasp, no tears, just this dull, quiet realization spreading across her face like spilled ink. I could see it in her eyes. She knew the act was over. Still, she tried. "It's not what you think," she whispered. I said, "Nothing." She reached for the photo slowly, like it might burn her fingers. Then she asked the most ridiculous question I've ever heard in my life. "Did someone send this to you?" That's when I finally stood up, because the truth was worse than anything she could guess. No one had to send it. She had saved it herself. She stood there, still holding the photo between her fingers, waiting for me to scream or throw something or break down. But I didn't. I just looked at her. Really looked. And for the first time in months, I wasn't angry. I was done. "I didn't need anyone to send it to me," I said calmly. "You saved it on your laptop, labeled under work. That's what I've become to you, huh? Just background noise while you live another life." She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Not denial, not apology, just silence from a woman who'd spent the last month pretending I didn't exist. Suddenly, she didn't seem to know how to handle being seen. "I'm not yelling because I'm not fighting for this anymore," I added. "I already packed a bag. I'm not leaving because I'm weak. I'm leaving because I finally realized I deserve to be more than tolerated." Her eyes welled up, and for once, I didn't feel small. I didn't feel pathetic. I felt free. I walked out of that house with nothing but my duffel bag, my car keys, and a feeling I hadn't felt in years. Relief. That was 2 months ago. Since then, I've moved into a small apartment across town. It's quiet. Still lonely some days, But I wake up and breathe without dread. I read. I cook weird meals without judgment. I talk to people. I even started journaling again. New entries, ones filled with actual hope, not desperate optimism. And the best part? I finally feel like me again. Not her background character, not her placeholder, just me. She called once. I let it ring. Sometimes closure isn't a dramatic showdown. It's just not answering when they finally notice you're gone. Thanks for listening to my story here on Reddit Confessions. Have you ever stayed too long in something that already ended? What was the moment that finally woke you up? Let me know in the comments.